Hey, what up, dudes? Welcome back to Garo Attacks. Clear Heroes. Alright, let's get right back into it, shall we? Last episode we talked about King Midas and about how badass he was, and he's just about as badass as your dad is. Yeah, that badass, I know. Next up, well, if you haven't watched the last episode, I highly suggest you do, because I explained that way better. And that episode, anyways, this time around we're talking about Garo, obviously. First thing I have to say about this dude is his name is a pun on refrigerator. Glad you're up to speed. Also, next thing you'll know is he's gilded 2 times, actually, and this is his gilded form right here. He's, I don't know what he is. He's still got the ice cube on his head. I believe that was the same as the time before, but I think he had a robe on or something before. Now he's just got like swim trunks on, so I think this is like the summer version of him or something, which is cool. It's nice to look at. Anyways, enough dilly-dallying. Let's start talking about my buddy here, my friend Garo. Mr. Garo was mentioned back up here with Natalia, Ice Princess, and with Broil in the Oven, actually, as one of the more powerful ice wizards out there. Not as resourceful as Broil is, which is strange for a flame mage, but definitely powerful. It's sort of like the opposite here, wherein usually when you're talking about like Song of Ice and Fire, or anything that has like fire people and ice people, or fire people and water people, either or, like in Avatar the Airbender, blah blah blah. Usually the fire people are the ones who are like, and the ice people are like, yes, calm, collected, yes. But it seems like it's the opposite here, whereas Broil is like, yes, must think of things, and Garo, the ice wizard, is, well, I'm icy. Alright, let's see if the stories have proven true by reading up about his lore. Let's see what you got here. By most accounts, the greatest wizard of all the lands. So powerful, there it is, he's powerful. So powerful, he was hired by the gods on many occasions to fight in their wars. But in the third war of the skies, during a powerful incantation, he tripped on a rock and misfired, permanently freezing solid his own head, and lost the war. So that ice block over his head is not like a helmet. That's just, you know, Garo, you know, his common headstronginess is getting up in the way. Straight up, most powerful, obviously, but straight up, not even close to the most resourceful. He's sort of a loose cannon, this guy. I kind of like him, though, because of it. Usually the loose cannons are the fire people, but this time it's the ice dude. He's hired by the gods. And there is a hint in this piece right here that, oh, the gods isn't just like what people assume have dominion over the land. These are actual people, because they have a war, and they hired him for their war. There's a third war of the skies. I'm guessing they call it this because it's just the third war that the gods, you know, have against themselves. It's sort of like how a world war is a bunch of like countries and nations like warring against each other, like 5 or 6 countries on like the Axis powers, 5 or 6 on the Allied powers, whereas the Civil War would be against like inside the nation. Like a Civil War would be like how the North in America fought the South in America. I would guess that the third war of the skies would be sort of like the gods' civil war, because I guess it doesn't involve like the earthlings and the mortals and stuff. But then again, it could also be considered like a world war, because it would be like the water god and his like nation against the fire god and his nation and stuff like that. You can think of it either way, but otherwise, just think of it as like the third war of the skies. It's the third war that the gods, I guess, in the skies. Yeah, you know what? This is probably, it's either, no, I don't think it's civil. It's hard to explain. But there are a bunch of gods in the skies, maybe like a cloud god, a wind god, fucking rain and thunder and lightning god, or whatever. But they're all warring against each other. And Referi-Gerator was hired to fight in those wars. We'll meet those gods very, very soon. But first off, let's talk about Referi, shall we? Mr. Gerator, I'm sorry. No disrespect. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I turned this off periodically. Oh, it must have been like just my voice for the past... Well, it was just the last episode and now this one. Oh, man. No wonder it felt super awkward. I was like, why does this feel more awkward than normal? It's because the sound and the music was off. Shit. Well, I'm not going to get rid of that last episode. It was too important. I'm like, yeah, I could re-record all of King Midas's stuff, but I could also... I can't re-record us jumping up like 35 levels, so I'm not going to re-record it. Sorry about that. We'll keep an eye on it. What I usually do when I'm playing other games, or even just recording other games, I'll have this one on like in the background, like minimized, and just turn the sound and the music off, and then that way I'll get a little bit of progression in it. Not really, because it's better to do it. Yeah, it's better to idle when you're not on the window, because it still idles when you exit out of the window and you play other games. So like that's why every time I come back, it's like, oh, you made this much money in an interim period, because it's still, the game still goes on even though you're not playing it, which is awesome. But yeah, so, very recently, since they added the relic system, I was like, you know what, I really want a relic, so I minimized it just so I could, like, maybe farm a relic somehow, because I'm pretty sure you can't idle into a relic. You have to come across that, like, relic ooze or whatever. So I still haven't come across it, as you can see right here. I you know, showed it in the last episode, but I'll show it again here. I haven't gotten a relic because I haven't come across a relic ooze. Maybe I need to ascend to do that, but that's not going to come until I'm done with all of these dudes' lures. Alright, so anyways, we're halfway through the video, and I still haven't even bought Fairy's first thing. So let's go ahead and buy it. There it is. Defrosted. Costs 360 trillion gold. Just how this guy cost basically like 70 or 60 billion himself. Increases his DPS by 100%, and it says this spell, oh, it's a spell that we must buy for him, I guess, like, to use, or maybe it's just, it's a very, very taxing spell on the body, so he only uses it if he gets paid sufficiently enough. Fair enough, Mr. Gerator. This spell will allow Gerator to cast his spells more effectively because he can see clearly. Oh, it's defrosting his, like, his ice cube head. It's because right now I guess it's like unclean water, so it's a little foggy. So right now we're just gonna defrost it real quick, get all the bubbles out of it. It can't go away per se, but we'll get all the bubbles out of it so you can see clearly. And you know what? Since it's ice, you know, refracting light and whatnot, maybe you can actually see better than most people. Who knows? But we will buy it because either way, it's really good. Next up, head bashing. Let's go ahead and get up to that level. Boom! As you can see, even though he's got his head in an ice cube, he still has got some moves. While his magic is paramount, this upgrade will allow Garo to smash his enemies in head-to-head combat. Yeah. He's using that ice cube head of his that he accidentally got in the third War of the Skies, by just bashing his enemies in the head with his face. Pretty awesome how he's like a super powerful ice wizard, but he's just like, bruh, hits him with his face. That's so cool to me that they made this ice wizard somehow like the fire archetype. Anyways, so let's go ahead and get that for him. It only costs 900 trillion gold. It ain't no big thing. And let's go ahead and level him up another 25 levels in. Here we go. Iceberg Rain. Yeah. Icebergs rain down from the sky, smashing your enemies. yeah, as you can see, this is an iceberg. It looks like it's falling down, but really I see it as like it's about to make its ascent up into the sky, because that's a reflection down in the water of it. And as you know, there's a saying, it says, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a reason, because icebergs, the like top part that's above the water is usually just like 10% of the iceberg itself. Underneath it is like huge like compound of ice that just invisible, because you know, gravity and blah 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 blah. Regardless, this is the type of thing that he's picking up and raining on his enemies. Yeah, so if you think about rain, it's like what, a billion trillion drops every like half hour or so in a city of whatnot. Yeah, now imagine instead of each drop of rain, instead it was an iceberg. Yeah, that's what Mr. Gerator here is thinking about doing. Once again, it's probably super taxing, so we need to pay him, you know, 3.6 quadrillion gold. That's cool though. I got it. I'm riding around and I'm getting it. Let's go ahead and upgrade him again. And oh, what's this? Glacier Storm. What? As you might know, iceberg are from the polar ice caps, which are just basically a giant glacier. So basically what he's doing is he's taking 1/2 of the Earth, which is covered in ice, is dropping it on their enemies. And, well, he's turning it into a storm. So obviously he's getting it from several different planets. That makes sense. And then he's turning it into a storm. For a hurricane of massive glaciers forms in the sky. They fall on your enemies. Okay. So right now, I don't know how big this Goobulin is, but I'm guessing he's not as big as a planet. So each of these glaciers, even though it's a storm of them, is probably going to do a ton of damage. You know what? 28.8 quadrillion gold. I think that's pretty worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that right there. Next up, what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Oh, this one's okay. So this is the first of the few that are gonna trick you. You need to check the required hero level before you do anything. Before I upgraded, he was at level 75. Then there's a 50 level difference right there to level 125. So you just gotta watch that out, because if you're like, oh I can spend that much money, you know, to get and then you use it and you're like, oh wait, it's not actually that much money. It's this much money. It's exponentially worse, and now you just wasted money on just making him, like, I guess, stronger DPS wise, but not actually getting an upgrade out of it. Usually it's just for like the last upgrade, which usually is like the critical click damage multiplier / critical click chance percentage and whatnot. So maybe hold off on those until you're absolutely happy with your DPS and stuff. But otherwise, after that warning, let's go ahead and actually buy this, which is Icy Touch. This is like a palm signature like technique that you're gonna see in a future, dude. Oh, what's that? Oh, don't even worry about that. Right now we got Icy Touch right here. This is specifically for Referring Gerator, and spoiler alert, he might have learned this from the gods that he fought those wars from. Anyhoozle, without more delay, let's read about it. Increased critical click damage multiplier by 3. Right now it's at what? It's at 15, so this would effectively turn it to 18 times damage for every critical click. And it says Gerator's frigid hands can instantly freeze enemies where they stand. They're also used to make drinks ice cold. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just like Gerator to be like, oh yeah, I mean, I could freeze them solid, but I'd rather just use iceberg ring glacier storms, you know, destroy a couple planets in the process just to kill this Goobulin right here. You know, it's my way. Also, I like to bash him in the head with a block just to add the, you know, add some insult to injury, you know, and you know, but the Icy Touch, I'm gonna keep that just cool drinks, you know. Betty Clicker, she's got some great food, but sometimes you need something to wash it down with, so there you go. That's my contribution to you. 288 quadrillion gold, no problem. I will pay for that all day, every day, Refrigerator. One of the most badass dudes we've come across thus far. Doesn't give 12 fucks about nothing. Not 1 through 12 fucks. Maybe 13 fucks. He might give 13 fucks, but not 12 or less. Regardless, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, comment if you're enjoying the series so far, and I'll see you guys in the next episode where we're going to talk about Abaddon, the first of these so-called gods that we have learned about. Oh! So I'll see you guys then. Peace out.